Patrick McNeil back here with you at the intermission as the Eagles get ready to go back home after this game in Moncton, and they'll host the Rouyn-Noranda Huskies on Thursday. Wanted to get some insight on the Huskies ahead of that game, so joined now by Jean-Sebastien Blais, who is the play-by-play man for Rouyn-Noranda this year. Jean-Sebastien, what are your thoughts on the start to the season? The Huskies playing for 500. Are they happy with the start to the season?
I think they're happy. We had a slow start. We lost a couple of games by only a margin of 1 goal. We had a tough opening night at home, but we played really well last weekend against Rimouski. So I think we're building on the nice play that we made on the last weekend, and the expectations are really high. Next year, we're going to be all in, so I think the expectations are high so that the teams needs to perform this season.
We'll be watching that, and obviously there's a storied history of the Huskies having success in the Q. Fans are looking at the NHL drafted players. You look at Dyllan Gill, draft pick at Tampa Bay. What makes him a special player? Why was he drafted into the NHL?
I think Gill is one of the best playmaker defensive men of his group of age in the Q. He sees the play really well. He gets the puck out of the zone, plays really well his one-on-one in defense, and obviously he is our quarterback offensively. He is always taking a good shot on the net, so that allows his teammate to take the rebound, and he's a really versatile defensive man. He moves his feet really well, and I think he has really the potential to be an NHL player one day. So I think the Huskies are really proud of his selection, and they use it a lot. He plays almost 25 to 26 minutes every game, so I think he's really our best D this season.
Goaltending battle, we see this in the Q every now and then between the older goaltender, Thomas Couture, and the younger goaltender with more draft pedigree, Kyle Hagan. Do you think that they'll go back and forth throughout the year?
I think Couture will get almost, I'd say, 50 games this season, and we'll see again about 20 times. Hagan is a really good goalie. He's outstanding. He's battling really well with the puck, but the Huskies are willing to start the playoffs at home, so we have to win some game, and when you have an overager in your team, especially in net, you have to use it a lot. So Couture has been very, very good for us, and he's a good teacher for Kyle Hagan. If we go all in next year, it's going to be Hagan in the net, so he's getting a lot of experience from Couture, who won Memorial Cup last year.
It seems like the Huskies always have the one or two players from Nova Scotia who've had some success up there. Now you see Leighton Carruthers, who's a former first-round draft pick, Alex Carr, who's also a former Moosehead, too. What do you make of what they've done for the Huskies so far?
Alex Carr has been a very good surprise last year. We were really pumped when we got him from the Moosehead. Carr is a strong defensive man. He hits really hard, and you know that's the one you want on the glass when you're on the PK. Carruthers has had a slow start last year, but this season he's playing on our top 6, and he's had a really good start by creating some space for his teammates on the ice. He plays really hard, and he's a tough player, so I think he knows better his role this season. Last year, the fans' expectation was that he made a lot of goals and a lot of points, but this season I think he's more a support player, but he plays this role really well.
Be watching his progress for sure. Now, how much do you think it helps to have Brad Yetman behind the bench, someone who has experience with the Huskies, and now he's been there for a number of years, that he's been able to really put his mark on the team?
It's a big asset, and you know, Yetman has a scholarity in psychology, and he talks a lot with his player. He prepares them really well to the game, and from being guys in the Maritimes, it gives us more opportunity when the draft comes. So we've had a couple of guys coming from the Maritimes come in from last year, so I think this coach is probably in a big ascension. I think Brad has the potential to maybe one day go pro like Gilles Bouchard did a couple of years before. It's a big asset for us, and we hope he'll stay in Rouyn-Noranda, but I think he has really a potential to be a pro coach one day.
The game is all about development at this level, both for coaches and players, so I'm sure that's what he aspires to do. One guy I'm sure fans will look to on the ice is Bill Zonin, because he's a big boy, first-round draft pick, 16, but you wouldn't know it by looking at him. How has he adapted to the Q in his first year?
He's really good. We knew that this guy has some really good hands, but with his size, what surprises us the most is his speed. Zonin can explode and beat the defenseman. He's playing really hard. He's not afraid of anybody, and he has a lot of pressure on his shoulder. When you're drafted as high as a 6th overall, the fans were really, really expecting much of him, and he has answered. He scored a very big goal in overtime last weekend against Rimouski, and he has been used in all kind of situations. He's already playing on our first power play unit. He's playing in overtime. He's made some great moves for us in the start of the season.
We look at the Huskies team coming into Cape Breton on Thursday night. We know Danil Borash is an exciting player to watch. What else should fans be looking forward to seeing this Huskies team?
You'll see a young team that plays hard for 60 minutes. And the things you have to see the Huskies, it's that they close game. They have a stacked defensive men group, and with the Hagen and Couture, it's really hard to score a goal against the Huskies. You'll see an exciting match, I think, and the future is bright for this organization.
Well, we look forward to seeing it. It's always exciting to see the Quebec teams because they only come to town once a year. Great insight on the Huskies, Jean-Sebastien. Look forward to seeing you in the winter. Thanks for this.
Yeah, thank you.
That's Jean-Sebastien Blais. He's doing the bulk of the games this year in Rouyn-Noranda, covering the Huskies. You're listening to Cape Breton Credit Union Eagles Hockey on 1270 CJCB.